Being a dad isn't as easy as it looks. Young guys might not always be ready to give up their bachelor lifestyle just because they have a kid. Many are willing to go through that transitional period of being the single guy into the responsibility of dad world. Not everything is going to go smoothly all the time. From showing their kids some tough love to using the plunger as a handle, here are the most hilarious dad fails. Hey guys, this is your host, American Eye. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy that video. Number 23, baby table. Sometimes there just isn't enough room for both your baby and the french fries when you're going out to eat. It saves a lot of time and space just to come up with a baby table. Hopefully he won't move and get your fries on the floor. That would just be outrageous. Number 22, driving lessons. Your kid might learn how to drive better if you teach them at a young age. Time certainly flies by and you want your kids to be safe drivers. Pretty soon, this little whippersnapper will be 16 and will need to know how to pick up some babes without the help from dad. His legs might be a little bit too short to reach the gas pedal at the moment, but that might not last for long. Number 21, Father's Day. Mothers often get most of the credit for raising their kids, but luckily dad gets his own day where he can just do what he wants. Here's the question though, can a Father's Day party end up more like a bachelor's party? This child probably hasn't taken all the classes in school just yet, so the guy should still get to have a good time, right? All the kids on the block will love to come over here once they find out what's going on. Number 20, the young buck. Seems like kids are going through puberty early and earlier nowadays. This kid here was simply asking too many questions, and maybe he'll finally understand the true answer where babies come from. You can tell he might be getting a little bit extra thirsty for milk just by looking. Number 19, baby sandwich. Some babies look cute enough to eat. This father took that way too literally. Different cuisine varies between each culture. In places like France, eating snails is okay. In other places, maybe babies? This parent here decided the kid was more useful between a pair of 2 pieces of sliced bread than not doing anything at all in his crib. Number 18, stay still. No, this kid isn't crying blood or anything. The father just carelessly dropped ketchup on his face. He paid at least $5 for that cheeseburger and he really doesn't want anything to go to waste. Don't bother using a napkin or anything. It's much more tender loving to use your tongue to get rid of that ketchup. Number 17, the child backpack. Carrying around an infant can certainly be an inconvenience for you, especially while you're trying to text message your buddies about what bar you're going to next. However, it looks like this dad in training got a little bit too distracted by his phone, and his dad backpack worked too well, to the point where he forgot he's squishing his kid between the seat. Either that's the case, or this kid was getting a cruel and unusual form of timeout. Luckily the dad isn't wearing earphones, or there'd be no way for him to even know his kid was there. Number 16, pushing it. This girl seems a little bit enthusiastic about being at the grocery store, but do you think she's pushing it a little bit here? The truth is some parents might just consider having kids in order to have them do some work around the house in exchange for feeding them. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to push around men when you're older. Number 15, losing those baby teeth. If you want to be manly and lose those baby teeth, why don't you just punch them out? Okay, not like that, but with this ingenious invention Dad came up with. It appears as though his son is slightly unsure as to whether or not this is going to work out, and we're sure Mom is just as skeptical. His tooth is tied to the punching bag, and when it moves, his tooth should pop out as well. He won't feel so bad after the tooth fairy comes and visits him. Did this one ultimately turn out to be a dad fail, or did that tooth get plucked out easily? Number 14, pool hogging. If there was a bad memory when you were traumatized as a kid, it more than likely came from something stupid your dad did. This group of kids was trying to use what's known as a kiddie pool, which is supposed to be used for kids, and not your dad. Instead, him and his buddies all came out of nowhere. They certainly turned this into a grown-up pool in no time. Something just doesn't seem right about too many old hairy guys in one kiddie pool. Number 13, biker babe. Mothers might want to think twice about leaving their kid alone with dad for too long, or he might decide to dress him up like a biker. Possibly with the plan of making the kid resemble his father, he was given the Harley gear most biker gangs would be jealous of. Dad better take some quick photos and clean him up before his old lady comes home. Maybe when he grows up, he'll just post a then and now shot, and maybe he'll look just like that in the future. Number 12. Child handle. Ever thought a backpack wouldn't be a good way to transport your kid unwillingly to go somewhere? While that might seem convenient and all, we've seen from previous dad feels that you might forget your kid is there. So one way to ensure a smooth transportation of your child would be to get him a child handle. Hopefully there's some good suction, or eventually he might fall down. Number 11. Kiwi Head. Yes, we understand your child's head looks like an overgrown kiwi. We get it. But do you have to really make him feel so self-conscious by putting a kiwi sticker on his head? It might not seem like too much adhesive, but if you've ever had to deal with one of those stuck on your leg, you know it's pretty painful. Just ripping it off and you take off plenty of hairs. Let's just hope no one loses this kid inside the fruit section. Number 10. Never too young. If you're gonna learn to drink a beer, you might as well learn from one of the best top beer drinkers on the planet. You better thank your dad for teaching you how to pound down a cold brew. While it certainly isn't milk by any means, we know parents have used alcohol for numbing babies while they're teething. But once their whole face starts getting numb, it's best to put down the beer. Number 9. Pedal it out. When in doubt, make sure you pedal it out. It doesn't matter if dad is twice their size combined, if he pedals, you better do it too. And if he doesn't, you still better pedal. While he might have considered getting his kids a bike, a pedal boat seemed like much more fun. He could use the kid's energy to his favor while getting around. With a little extra added weight to the boat, you have to hope it stays afloat. Number 8. Joe Rogan Jr. Does anyone else see the uncanny resemblance between Joe Rogan and his son? There will not be DNA tests needed to show that these two are related. In reality though, the father gave his kid a marker makeover and didn't forget to scribble in the six-pack to help him get with some serious babes. Maybe he was just getting tired of waiting to see what he looked like when he was older and just gave him his artistic rendition. Or maybe he was just born to be a TV star. The ATV Carnival. When you're a good parent and you don't have the money to take your kids to the carnival because you bought an ATV instead, here's a good compromise. Get your kids an old mattress instead and tie them to the ATV so you can drag them around for a little bit. It's not a merry-go-round by any means, but it should get the job done. While the dad probably thought it was fun, the wife, once again, most likely wanted to put an end to it. Psh, no fun. Number 6. Reach in there. If you don't think being a dad has its perks, think again. Well, it turns out, in this situation, a kid comes in real handy. Dropping your keys into a dirty pond might be enough for some adults to give up and call a locksmith. However, if you're smart enough to tell your kid he'll get a cookie afterwards, he might be willing to do this. You should also probably hide the fact that they will be getting a bath later on for getting dirty. You're the negotiator here, so you make the rules. Number 5. Get in there. Don't be a wuss, jump in the pool, kid. It might not take a full leg kick to get his son in the pool, but sometimes kids just need a little bit of extra encouragement. You'd probably push him into the pool, but as you can see, his other hand is slightly occupied with a frosty brew. Just consider it a nudge with a foot. Nothing too crazy, right? Number 4. The baby burrito. You ever go to Chipotle and think to yourself, wow, this burrito is about the size of a small infant. How am I going to possibly eat this? Well, dads out there have possibly thought the same thing, and while getting their kid dressed, they decided to test out their theory. Could a baby be too big as a burrito size to handle? Could a baby be too big of a burrito size to handle? It looks like it from this photo that a baby would indeed be too large. Number 3. All tied up. Once you got a kid, you'll realize how useful both your hands are, and sometimes you'll feel like you might need a third arm. The dad here seems to really be getting the hang of it, and on top of it, the baby looks rather comfortable. Why spend all the extra money on all kinds of parenting products when you can simply carry your baby around in a Tangled t-shirt? This guy needs a life hack channel immediately. We're not even sure why this is on a fails list. Number 2. Your face in the wrong place. What could possibly go wrong about sharing a bike with dad? It seems like the perfect way to get some family bonding and some good recreation together, right? However, maybe someone needs to point out to dad some fashion do's and don'ts before things get even sweatier. This girl might seriously need a helmet though, and maybe a gas mask if she's got one. And number 1. Piggyback ride. Do you remember being a kid and getting the chance to be as tall as a grown-up when you were on your parents' shoulders and what's known as a piggyback ride? This dad here might not realize that his son is now about the same size as that parking sign he's walking under. It could have seriously been bad news if this guy didn't come up and stop them.